Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
And we have breaking news to start. Feedback Friday, which we will get to right after Judd tells us about his favorite gas station and convenience store.
That's Quick Trip, of course. And let me tell you right now, if you are looking to extend a relationship with a convenience store, you got to sign Quick Trip to an extension right now because they are the best. Why? Because they have everything that you could possibly want. They're like a grocery store, but they're a convenience store instead. So you don't have to walk down aisle after aisle. This is on aisle 12 and that's on aisle 5, and it gets to be a royal pain in the hiney. Quick Trip has everything that you could possibly want. If you forgot lunch and you're driving to work, no problem. Stop at Quick Trip. And if you don't have time to stop in and shop, that's fine too, because put the app on your phone and they will have what you order ready to go. Fill up that gasoline tank as well. What more could I give you? What versatility?
Gasolina.
We talk about versatility, gentlemen. Versatility is Quick Trip's middle name. In fact, I'm going to call him Quick Versatility Trip.
Love it, dude. I love it. I love that the Minnesota Vikings, when they send out these big press releases, they hold the caps lock button down. You ever notice that? Mm-hmm. Minnesota Vikings signed general manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah to multi-year contract extension. That's the breaking news.
They hold it down.
It's like you go through your inbox and everyone, has normal headlines, and the Vikings are like, all caps, make sure you see this headline. So that's the breaking news. Kwesi gets the multi-year contract extension that we've all been wondering, they signed Kevin. Are those guys no longer aligned here? So here's some quotes. Mark Wilf said Kwesi's leadership, vision, and collaboration with our coaching staff has positioned the Minnesota Vikings for sustained success. His dedication and forward-thinking approach have been instrumental in shaping our roster and future. We are confident that under the guidance of him and Kevin O'Connell, we will continue to compete at the highest level as we pursue a championship for Vikings fans. And then Ziggy has a quote, too.
Oh, wow.
Ziggy's going to talk.
Ziggy's going to talk? Ziggy doesn't talk a lot no more.
We are extremely excited to continue this journey with Kwesi in this role and confident in the direction he and Kevin are leading our organization. Kwesi's commitment to building a championship caliber team and his ability to collaborate effectively, make bold, calculated decisions, has positioned the Vikings for long-term success. And then Kwesi has a really long quote, too, where he's super happy to be here and continue this journey. Your thoughts on Kwesi multi-year contract extension?
Well, first of all, I think that we backed off a bit when we found out that his initial contract, which we all thought was going to expire at the end of the 2025 season, actually was going to go through the draft. So that made the delay a little bit more like, oh, okay. Look, yes, there's some questionable drafts, but at the end of the day, when you look at, since Kwesi and Kevin arrived, when you look at the win total, which is only sullied a bit by the fact that Kirk got hurt and that team did not have a good season. This team has won double-digit games 2 of the 3 years. They're coming off a 14-win season. And clearly, I think that the structure, and I will continue to hammer this home, we don't really know what the structure is exactly, because Kwesi is certainly not your typical GM, but the structure of what they wanted when Rick was fired and when Mike was fired, right? Which was much more cohesive. The cohesion, the collaboration, whatever it is, it's worked. Like, they're coming off a 14-win season. Yep. So I think it's not surprising. I think that there's always flaws, and we can talk about those, and God knows we do. But this is A, not a surprise, and B, I don't know why you would break it up unless you felt that somebody really wasn't behind the scenes doing their job, and we don't know that, and clearly that's not the way that they felt.
Yep, this is 100% the right decision. You don't win 14 games and was it 13 games? Was it 13-4 in their first year, 2022?
Yep.
And they competed, man. They got back over 500 with backup quarterbacks in that second year when Kirk Cousins got hurt. you don't win all those games in the first 3 years and then get cold feet on a general manager extension. So keep this thing going. The 2022 draft is ancient history at this point. It is interesting, though, that you had to make this decision as a franchise before the most important factor of his tenure has played out, which is the drafting of JJ McCarthy and Dallas Turner, because all the moves you had to make to get in position to the Dallas Turner pick, like there was like 2 or 3 trades involved to get in that position over the course of a few months.
Sure.
But you're not going to really know for like 2 or 3 years on that. It is funny to me that people criticize Kwesi for he's not a ball guy, right? He comes from kind of a trading background, a non-traditional background, and they criticize him for leaning on the coaching staff and Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores are the ones that are making recommendations and driving it. Well, yeah, that's if you are just unilaterally making decisions without any sort of collaboration or getting input from people on the ground or have been in the game, then you're a terrible leader. So like sometimes the things people criticize him for or want to ding him for are actually like they run like antithetical to what a great leader would do in that spot. So
and that's not what when Spielman got blown out, that is exactly what they didn't want to. So like this was a hire made in a very different form because of what the franchise had seen previously, which they thought, okay, it worked for a while, but it didn't work. And look, at the end of the day, number one, I think the McCarthy pick, good or bad, is going to be pinned to Kevin. If Dallas Turner busts completely, we've got a different topic there. But if McCarthy flourishes, we're all going to say Kevin O'Connell. And if he doesn't, I don't think we're going to say, well, Kwesi deserves that blame. I think Kevin is McCarthy's guy.
Unless Kevin comes back and says, no, I wanted to give up the bag for Drake May. And
well,
Kwesi told me no. It's Kwesi's fault.
But they tried. But also, this also stems back, fair or not, to the signing of Kirk Cousins. Like that signing is where there is, if you want to go through Vikings history, the timeline, right? And you're sort of like, I don't know about this timeline, but if you want to get to a place where you can take a red pen, as Kevin O'Connell likes to do on Red Pen Day, and draw a line, it is when Rick Spielman said, I can't find a quarterback. Screw it. And Zimmer at the combine had warned him, we do not overpay a guy. Yeah. And he did. And that's where I think the idea of collaboration was destroyed. And I think that rightfully so left a huge mark on the Wilfs.
One of the pivotal things that this new regime has done or has had to handle, and it's a credit to both Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell, because it was true collaboration, if you want to keep overusing that word, is how do you land the Kirk Cousins plane in a smooth way, smooth as possible, and not fall into years of quarterback doldrums. And I remember when those guys signed on to take those jobs, I was the loudest one hammering the desk saying, dude, just be done with it. Trade him right now while he still has value and just move out from underneath that contract in this year-to-year conveyor belt where he's always a year in front of you. Like the accounting was always a year or two out with void years, and it's crippling your cap situation. And they were more patient than, an idiot like me and said, wait a second, let's not go crazy in the first year. Let's see how Kevin and Kirk can work together. 8 fourth quarter comebacks, 13 wins, home playoff game, a couple of the most exciting comeback wins in Vikings history, the Buffalo game, the historic Colts comeback. And then after that, now they went into one more year, but that after that year, they could have gone crazy and said, all right, let's do a 3-year deal. Let's keep Kirk in Minnesota forever. And Kwesi and maybe Kevin, but driving the bus was Kwesi, who said, no. Nope, that was a great season. It was super fun, but we need to be on the lookout for a younger, less expensive quarterback that can help us build this roster. But also we need an answer to who that quarterback's going to be and maybe a bridge guy, and that's where Kevin comes in. They identified Sam Darnold correctly, and then we'll see if they identified JJ McCarthy correctly. But to land that plane, still win a bunch of games, to get out from underneath quarterback salary cap hell and into this new era where you have a monster roster. And if you did hit on this quarterback, he's going to be cheap and really good for the next half decade. So that, to me, that's the that is the headline on why Kwesi deserves this contract extension.
The timing is interesting though, just because Kevin O'Connell got his, and now Kwesi, I guess, was entering the last year of his contract, and now it's on the eve of training. Not on the eve, but pretty dang close to training camp starting. It's May 30th. I am curious on the timing, like why maybe this one took a little longer than anticipated compared to, just locking them up with handcuffs on, essentially. That part to me was really curious.
Might have been some haggling, possibly, on years, on term, on I could see. Look, Kwesi comes off, I think, as sort of a quiet guy. He definitely does not seek out the spotlight. But if you worked on Wall Street, you probably don't just take a contract and be like, "Oh, thank you, Mark Zigmeister, I appreciate it." So I could definitely see a negotiation that took place. Back to the quarterback thing, and with Kirk and with the year of Darnold. I don't think I've ever phrased it this way, but I have a question now as we talk through this, because Kwesi was such and is a unique GM hire. Is this as good of example, and I might be wrong here, but is this as good of example as you can find of an NFL version of Moneyball? Because in some ways, Darnold is the first baseman who's like, you know what, we don't need to spend that much right now. Like, is this as good? Now, Cleveland tried this. The Browns did try this, and it fell apart. It didn't work. But the more I think about it, Darnold did fit that role perfectly of, I'm going to be a starter for the Vikings. And like, yeah, we think that you can. And he had, for the most part, a ton of success.
Yeah, because most
comp.
It's the spirit of Moneyball is finding inefficiencies in a market. It's finding a really important thing at less than market value. And so, for those of you that didn't read the Moneyball book or saw the Moneyball movie, Brad Pitt, it was about the early 2000s Oakland Athletics, like the late 90s, early 2000s Oakland Athletics, and they had a bottom of the barrel payroll, whereas the Yankees and the Red Sox and some of these other teams are outspending them by tens of millions of dollars. And so you weren't able to just like go toe to toe financially. In the NFL, Moneyball is a little bit different because everyone has the same resources to spend.
Sure.
So like in baseball, it's more important. If you have a payroll that's $100 million less than the other guy's payroll, you have to find market inefficiencies or get lucky, or you're not going to compete with those teams. And in the early 2000s, on-base percentage was a highly undervalued skill set across the league. It was the leading driver for scoring runs, but a lot of the old school front offices looked at batting average and maybe RBIs and things that weren't as directly impacting the run scoring process. But yeah, to your point, like, we focus on quarterback play singularly in a vacuum, and that's why teams get into a pickle with these contracts. We need a quarterback. Oh, Tua, we have a quarterback. Let's pay him $55 million. We have Trevor Lawrence, and he is a good quarterback or a talented quarterback. Let's pay him. But really, it's about scoring points and generating offense through the passing game. If you zoom out from just the quarterback, and the quarterback is the biggest cog in that equation, but if you have a head coach that is excellent at developing quarterbacks and scheming wide receivers open, if you've got weapons that can get open and run routes and all these things, you don't necessarily need to have 2007 Tom Brady as your. It'd be nice, and if you put a Tom Brady into that situation, now you win a Super Bowl. So yeah, like in a roundabout way, the Vikings have found a way, call it Moneyball or not, to, and they've not been a top 3 offense, but to be like a top 10 offense and a top 10 passing attack without necessarily having anywhere near a top 5 quarterback in the league because of the infrastructure that they've put around the Sam Darnolds, right?
Which then allows you the capability to go out and spend big in March, right? You sign 2 defensive tackles, you sign 2 guys for the O-line, and you can pay them because you're not paying Kirk or quarterback X a ton. Tom Pelissero, our old buddy as well, has this. The team is also promoting Ryan Grigson and Demetrius Washington to assistant GM positions per sources.
Okay.
So we got contract extensions.
Wow. Dude.
We got promotions. I'm willing to bet we got cake right now being cut.
Ooh.
A celebratory cake.
Is it a football cake?
Shape of a football.
I hope so. Should be.
Wow, all sorts of news, man. So yeah, the Grigson promotion is interesting. I wonder if he was getting, because he's been heavily involved in the Vikings winning a bunch of games too, right? Like, proximity to success can raise your stock, and I'm wondering if he was getting some sniffs from other teams out there.
Definitely a sounding board, and I don't think the fact that you signed 2 veteran free agents from the Colts is an accident.
Yeah. Well, he stole 40% of the offensive line.
Yeah. So, yes.
And if anyone knows how to build great offensive lines for his quarterbacks, it's Ryan Grigson.
I'm not saying he's great. I got no clue what he does exactly, but he got a promotion along with Demetrius Washington.
And he looks like a football guy, you know?
Oh, yeah.
He's got the...
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah. What career are you in? Are you a football guy? That's exactly what I would say if I ran into him on the street.
They, football guys in practices, training camp especially, stock the field. Spielman used to stock the field. Like, Kwesi comes out and he's a thin dude, and you would not say there's a football guy, right? But the football guys, they are either heavier set guys, or in Spielman's case, they got the bad back and bad knees.
They're kind of hunched over,
and they're
like
hunched
a
over, and they got a
50-degree
notepad
angle,
like Sports Dad would, and they stock the field
with the printed out roster folded up in the back of their shorts.
Yep.
Or back pocket.
Yeah.
They're bulging calves. Yeah.
Am I a football guy? Because, I mean, that's what I do.
I think you are.
Am I a ball guy?
That's the hardest part with baseball players, because, like, baseball players could look like the best physique in the world, or they could look like some random dude, and you're like, this guy can throw 96 miles an hour. It's like, yes, he can.
True.
Or this guy can hit a ball 450 feet to the opposite field. Yes, he can.
That's so true.
Andy Chen chimes in here and says, great Judd's camp notes on Thursday.
Thank you.
Especially about the offensive starters attending the voluntary workout. Nice tribute to JJ. Would you mention potentially how quickly or slowly JJ McCarthy releases the ball, at least compared to Sam Darnold's slow releases?
I like his release. Yeah. And again, the arm is better than certainly was sold. And I think his release is pretty good. There was nothing. The thing that I look for, and I think it stands out, is if a quarterback winds up a bit, like there's for lack of a better term, an elongated release. I don't see that. So yes, I would say that he definitely has a release that works. The only problem with these practices, and I brought this up, is because they're installing things, we're getting no clue about how quickly he'll move. So, like, he drops back, he surveys. It's like, okay, you're sacked by now, but that's not the point of these practices.
Yeah.
So I would say what I'm curious to see when the bullets start to fly in training camp is far more how quickly he works in the pocket than that there might be a problem once he decides to throw. I think that's pretty good.
So he took a lot of sacks? Is that what I'm taking away from what
he
you
would
just
have
said?
taken a ton of sacks. Because he's processing through his reads and he's looking at things. He would have taken a ton of sacks. But I think that will clean itself up as they continue.
And if it doesn't, Aaron
Rodgers, then Kwesi's going to be fired.
Yeah, has the ink dried on the contract. Chris Manson chimes in. He says, this is a WWE-style promo.
All right.
I'll do my best. We'll see. I don't know if it's actually a promo or if we'll see.
What do we got?
Thor Nystrom sings JJ McCarthy's praises with a passion I have only seen when Joe Buck shoehorns Aaron Rodgers propaganda into a game between two teams he doesn't play for. And I'm here for it. I'm forever the purple optimist and told you last year Darnold would be an MVP guy. Where he fell short, JJ will not. To hell with the rookie expectations. He's been molded by KOC for a year, caged in the football laboratory, watching guys drafted before him succeed. Wow. He isn't coming to learn the ropes. He's coming off the top rope to put the NFL on notice. Comeback Player of the Year, MVP, Walter Payton Man of the Year, JJ McCarthy is taking all the hardware to pair with his Super Bowl trophy. NFL honors will just be a Zoom meeting as JJ gets ready to shred whatever sacrificial lamb the AFC sends to Santa Clara. Wow. The Purple Rain begins September 8th at Soldier Field. You can put that on a damn shirt. Skol. Chris Manson.
Wow.
I love that. That's not a prediction. That's a spoiler. in the words of Paul Heyman. How about that, huh? Huh? That's right.
Carson chimes in here. Or Carlson. He says, hey, Mackie, I don't mean to rat out your fellow Purple Daily host, but I thought I owed it to the Purple Daily audience to push back on something Judd said on Feedback Friday last week when you were gone. So Declan posed a question to Judd. It had to do with the Brock Purdy contract. Judd was asked if JJ McCarthy was to have a similar performance as Purdy in the next 4 years, so 2 NFC championship games, a trip to the Super Bowl, if JJ should get a similar contract. And Judd said, and I'm quoting Judd from Carlson here, so let's be honest about this. If JJ McCarthy is part of a Vikings team that gets to their first Super Bowl since January of 1977, and if he gets that contract, absolutely we would not be upset. I hope Judd was just kidding about that, Carlson said. If not, he's throwing the whole Vikings philosophy with J.J. McCarthy under the bus. Don't we all agree that having a low-cost quarterback allows the Vikings to fill all kinds of holes on the roster? J.J.'s going to have a better offensive line than Kirk had, a better offensive line than Darnold had. He'll have great weapons, possibly a better running game than those guys had. He'll have a good defense, et cetera, et cetera. If the Vikings sign J.J. to a huge contract after not winning the Super Bowl, aren't we going to get to the same issue we had with Kirk Cousins?
That's absolutely correct. That's what I said. Yes. I said that, and I was not joking, and I will stand by it. If the man gets you to a Super Bowl, are you telling me that you're going to play hardball and not pay him?
I love how far ahead we're getting with this conversation.
Yes. Oh,
yeah. Like the dude literally had
I said that.
3 OTA practices as the number one starter.
But I did say
what
that.
happens if they go to 3 Super Bowls
but
and
I
they
did
don't win
say
any
that,
of them?
Yeah. And I'm not backing down from it. I truly believe that they would pay. If this happened, yes. In this hypothetical world, yes.
Yeah, well, like obviously if you wind up going to the Super Bowl in like year 2 or year 3, I would assume he is a driving force reason as to why that happened. And I know there's been some debate about Purdy. I actually think the Purdy contract settled in. Like, it's not a top 5 AAV contract. It kind of settled in a fair spot for kind of where he's at. It'll be a much better contract in 2 years from now when the cap is high. But like my philosophy with Kirk, with Darnold, with any quarterback is, if you are a driving force for high-level winning, and if you are the reason why your team, like the main reason why your team is running deep in the playoffs, and it comes contract time, so Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, I will put on that list, you pay them and you figure out the roster stuff later. But if you're not a driving force for winning and you pay a quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, Tua, Dak Prescott, it makes it almost impossible to build a roster around that guy. So we won't know, like, in 4 years, we will know, is J.J. McCarthy a driving force for winning? And if he's not, but they are still like, if he's not and they're not winning, it's easy. If he's not and he's kind of along for the ride and they are winning, that's what makes it a tougher decision. But
Yeah,
teams get stuck with these quarterbacks that make a ton of money, and now they can't build a team around them.
But I think if you win at the level that we're talking about here, I think he's going to be a huge force. Like I don't think you're going to back into a Super Bowl with a quarterback who is like along for the ride. So I also feel like that note's sort of a gotcha note. Like Kirk did this and that.
Oh, you tried to sneak a take when Phil was gone.
Remember this. It's Carson. Or
Carlson.
Carlton? Okay.
Carlson. Put some respect on Carlson's name.
I forgot his name. It's not my fault.
I forgot it too, to be honest.
Anyway, remember this, Carlson. When Kirk Cousins signed, Phil and I were both on board at the time. Because we said this team desperately needs a quarterback. And he was thought of as the final piece to what looked like a Super Bowl puzzle, okay? If Kirk Cousins gets the Vikings to a Super Bowl, which he very easily could have and probably at that contract at the time should have done quickly, our conversations to this day are very different. Yeah. So like this, nobody hated Kirk Cousins or the contract the day he signed it. The problem it became very clear he was going to get you nowhere near the goal. And again, the goal is not playoffs. Playoffs are cute. Playoffs are nice. Playoffs can mean a fun year. But you know what they don't mean? They don't mean a title. So I feel like there's a little bit of gotcha there. You're saying this about Kirk. Yeah, I was. You know what? And if JJ McCarthy's a bust, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Tons more feedback here and a snake draft of the week. Good news for Kwesi. He will not need two men in a truck.
No.
Because he's staying put right here.
He might buy a nicer house.
Yeah, he might buy a nicer house. So if that's the case, Kwesi, don't. And by the way, as Sports Dad knows, you don't put your own players in external things. So you don't have to get the offensive line guys. Will Fry should not be handling any of the boxes. Two men in a truck should be handling all of the boxes. There's no broken tibias. There's no rehabbing tibias and legs and limbs for my friends at Two Men in a Truck. My guys Artie and David, they came through here. They made this move happen, and now it's summertime. This is a really hot time to move. Pun intended. You don't want to have to be sweating. Let the experts do it for you. Okay, those guys are built to sweat. They're built to move that stuff for you. So go to twomeninatruck.com to get your quote. Go to twomeninatruck.com. Tell them that Purple Daily sent you.
And if you are sweating and then your air conditioning's not working, you can call MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Yeah. Most of us are built to sweat, but you know what? We don't want to. And so that means as the temperatures heat up, we want to be in a comfortable house. And MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air is going to make sure that your AC system is working perfectly. Also, it's getting nice outside, which is fantastic. So on grand old days on Sunday, June 1st, make your way to St. Paul and stop by the MSP booth for a chance to win a Blackstone grill. Anyone who stops by the booth will also receive a special discount of $60 off any HVAC or plumbing repair. Just their way of saying thanks. Follow MSP on Facebook to stay in the know on special offers and events. Check out their website at callmsp.com or give them a call 651-615-4292. You might be built to sweat, but who wants to be sweating in their home?
Ben Stofferin chimes in and said, hey, sound clips idea. You guys should ask listeners to send in sound clips for the show. I know I would not ask for any compensation and would just be thrilled to be a sound clip on the show. Ben, thanks for clarifying. We wouldn't have to pay you to send in sound clips. Not saying I can do them any better than you guys, but I think we could find some talented listeners who could add some new phrases and energy to the sound clips. I'll say, if you guys have fun sound drops you want to send in, please email them.
Yeah.
At dgoff or at pmackey. Judd will keep you out of this one. At scorenorth.com.
No interest. No, that's great. Thank you. Thank you for keeping me out of it.
Although if you have some latest Vikings news or Judd's, we need some Judd's camp notes sounders.
Yeah, we do.
That's going to be our next one.
That's good.
Hold on. Speaking of this, I got a late, and Phil, maybe you grabbed this, but this came in when we were doing Flagrant Howls today. Nathan says, "Hey Dex, a little late for Feedback Friday, but Judd has been wondering where Isaiah Rodgers is and why he's not at OTAs. Well, he's going to be here in Des Moines for Cooper DeJean's charity softball game. I'll be there. So if the sports dad or anyone on the crew wants me to ask him questions, maybe I can be an honorary Purple Daily field reporter."
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Find out. And
who is it? Nathaniel?
Nathan.
Nathan?
Yeah,
Nathan's camp notes.
Nathan's camp?
Absolutely. Find out.
Reply
Do
back.
some digging.
Yep.
So, and just to be clear, Isaiah Rodgers was not at the one day that was Wednesday that was open to us. That doesn't mean that he was not there on Tuesday. And I think they did practice again, if I'm not mistaken, on Thursday. But yeah, if he has been absent, I'd be curious to know. So he and Cooper were teammates with the Eagles, correct, last season?
Yes.
That's where the tie-in comes from?
Yes.
Des Moines.
I
could get in my car 3
could.
hours away.
You could, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Find out.
Let's see. There's a couple. Jack from the UK has a couple sort of reckless speculation ones here. I'll just throw these at you in rapid fire succession.
Reckless speculation.
He's seen the reports that the Steelers are looking to add playmakers alongside DK Metcalf. And it got me wondering, what trade offer would you not be able to turn down for like this summer if they called about Jordan Addison? If the Steelers said, what would it take? And you would lose him for the upcoming season. See, I'd rather this trade at this point happen in like March of next year if you're going to do it.
I'm with you totally right now.
So it would probably have to be if they said first round pick, I guess okay, but
okay, let's hear it.
your priority is to make JJ McCarthy as successful as possible.
Yeah.
This year, right?
That the window for trading a guy like that, in my opinion, is March.
They have
maybe April.
Boatload of picks next year. Pittsburgh does. Crap ton of picks.
Maybe that is a conversation for for next year. And then he also chimes in here, UK Jack, and says, speaking of trades, what would be the most you'd be comfortable with offering for Jalen Ramsey? So what's the...
I love this.
So are they going to trade him? Is that what the reports are?
And I believe, if I am not mistaken, I believe as of June 1st, the salary implications might be more favorable to a trade.
Okay.
They definitely want to move him. And the rumor...
And the Vikings have space this year.
Yeah, and I actually did some digging on this a couple of weeks ago through not my sources, through trying to find where the most likely places were. And the rumor was the Rams, him going back to the Rams.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah, he won a championship with the Rams a couple years ago.
I'm intrigued, though, depending on what would you give up? I would give up a draft. I would give up a draft pick. I would not give up a first-round pick because of his age, but I would probably give up a day 2 draft pick. I'd give up a third-round pick, I think.
He's 30 years old. I give up a third round. I'm not giving up a first-round pick for essentially it'd be like a 1-year rental.
Agreed.
Probably.
Agreed.
30-year-old cornerback. For what it's worth, PFF still really likes him. Now, he was at his peak in his kind of mid-late 20s with the Rams, but PFF still had him overall a 77 defensive grade. He's been great as a run stopper to a run-stopping, tackling cornerback, kind of an underrated aspect of his career. And his coverage grade was still very much near the top of starting cornerbacks, 71.9 last year. Opposing quarterbacks, when they targeted him, had a 93.5 passer rating. But they also didn't target him that often because he's Jalen Ramsey. They averaged targeting him maybe 3 or 4 times a game. Yeah, I'm in for like a third-round pick.
Mm-hmm. I agree with
that. Yeah, I mean, and the Vikes have the third-round comp coming in. They have a third-round pick normally, like a normal third-round pick next year. So, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Andrew Geyer, put your hands together for the newest high school graduate here and listener of Purple Daily.
Right. Andrew.
We love it. At first, Andrew,
nice.
I'll be honest, I thought you invited us to your grad party. This is more of just like the card signifying that Andrew graduated. But yeah, Andrew, Purple Daily, thank you guys for always making my morning drives interesting. Andrew, I hope I'm not revealing too much information, but this is another son of the sports dad here who is moving into adulthood, moving into the world as a functioning adult, and he plans to
10 and 2.
Hands at 10
Driving
and
to
2.
School.
Andrew plans to study political science and journalism at TCU in Fort Worth, Texas.
Wow.
He is a big-time Vikings fan. So congratulations to our guy, Andrew Geyer, a listener of the show.
Yeah. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Sports Dad's proud. Very proud.
What? Forget those. And I do like the becoming your parents progressive guy. That guy's awesome. But I don't really love the other ones. I feel like Judd should be doing that graduation speech one they play like all the damn time where it's I can't stand it.
What you're going to have for dinner for the rest of your life.
And instead it's Judd just listing things you're going to have to be doing as an adult. I think Judd should start filming those type of commercials.
I like it.
What's your biggest piece of sports dad advice to your sports son here who's graduating high school and going into the world?
Wow. I would say this. Appreciate every moment because it goes fast.
Wow. Pretty soon you'll be a grizzled man in your mid-50s.
You'll be 40 before you know it. Then you'll be in your 50s. Enjoy it. Slow down. And always remember, you don't know as much as you think you know.
I think college, like those colleges 18 to 22 are the most fun. I mean, it's just kind of self-explanatory. But I also feel
they are.
like the next 4 to 8 years are also, in my opinion, just as fun. Like you're out of college, you're now in adulthood. You're going to make some mistakes, and you're going to still be a little reckless at times. But like that 22 to 30, 22 to 26, 28 range.
Yeah.
That's a fun portion of your life. That's a real fun portion of your life as well.
It is, and I would argue too that it gets even. I don't know, maybe Judd would disagree. I think it gets more fun in your 30s. We'll see. I just turned 40, so we'll see about 40s. But a lot of fun years ahead.
Yeah,
and people are gonna die and stuff, and like that's.
Yeah,
gonna suck.
that's always gonna happen.
That's life.
Yeah.
I have a bachelor party in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I'm terrified. Like I'm scared to be. I am taking every precaution in the world to not feel like an absolute pile by the end of that bachelor party.
Yeah, I can't do bats. I
feel like you should I feel like your philosophy should going in should be like a pitch count though, Dex.
Yeah.
You've got to have a strategy now. You're too old.
So here's
not
my
to have a
strategy. Here, and I'm dead serious. I'm sticking to this. I've told like 4 of the guys about this. Every 2 drinks I have, I am mixing in a full bottle of water.
Yep.
Like I have to because
here's a couple more tips.
I can't do it.
The water for sure. Because there's some peer pressure, right? You know, you're around a bunch of guys, and everyone's just cutting it loose, and then there's always the guys that kind of hate their home life, and they are using this trip to just cut it all loose, and like they'd even be willing to get arrested, you know, because at least they'd be away from the life that they hate. So there's always a range of people on these bachelor party trips. Don't be afraid to mix in a Diet Coke without any alcohol in it. Yeah. Even in like a cocktail glass, so you don't get hit with the peer pressure. Oh, he's got a little cocktail in his hand. Nope, it's a Diet Coke. Take it, or get the just like some sparkling water with a lime in it, and they'll think it's a vodka soda. You can skirt some of that stuff, but pacing is important.
Very important.
Pacing is very important.
I feel like though, I feel like to go back to the pitcher analogy, I feel as if Dex too that you have to respect the fact that you probably have been moved to the bullpen of life.
Yeah, I'm not.
You're not a starter anymore. You can't come out trying to throw guns ablaze, and you are at the bachelor party wise. Okay, not in real life. Bachelor party wise, I think you're sort of at the Jamie Moyer point,
right?
Where you're just coming in and sort of throwing slop, and you're still fine.
Yeah,
but you can't compete. By the way, how old's your friend who's getting married?
Same age as me. He's 32, and it's 14 guys.
Oh, boy, that's a lot. I mean, you're not old, but I don't know, man. That's a tough ask.
Our next comment here comes from Michael Vasic in the YouTube comment section. I have a hot take, he says. Purple Access with Chip and Judd could disappear because it just gives Judd a reason to hear his own voice. Literally the same things are said on the regular Purple Daily Show.
Wow. That's a very hurtful comment. Partially very true because I like to get Chip's thoughts on the same things that we talked about. Tom.
You can't come up with some original content for
like
Purple
yesterday,
Access?
he's complaining. I know
mailing it in.
I know what he's complaining about. He's complaining about yesterday's show with Chip because we both went to the Vikings OTA practice on Wednesday. And so we talked about a lot of the same things that were in my camp notes.
Okay.
But I also was curious to get Chip's opinions on those things because he was there. But, yeah, I mean, you know what? I can see it. Do like
Michael says he does love you.
Loves it. Loves you.
Okay, thank you. I can see it, though. Like, if you're going to sit in front of a microphone for a large portion of your life and talk, you clearly love the sound of your own voice. Like, Michael's right about that. There's no denying that. It's like, no, Michael, I'm very quiet. I'm a shrinking violet. No, he's right.
Just listens back in slow motion to all the podcasts.
I can't listen to myself. I can't do it.
Ryan Hartman says, greetings, guys. I know this topic falls outside the typical scope of your podcast, but I wanted to share with you something extraordinary that a member of our Purple Daily community has achieved. This past Saturday, my brother and fellow Minnesotan became the first American-born piano player or pianist to win the International Beethoven Piano Competition in Vienna, Austria. Wow. To put this into sports terms, this is similar to a pro golfer winning a major or a figure skater winning an Olympic gold medal. It's like a career absolute peak top of your sport.
Yep.
These piano competitions are every bit as competitive, grueling, and nerve-wracking as any sport, but sadly, this grand achievement will only receive a tiny fraction of the recognition it deserves. There will be no parade, but this week my family finally understands what it feels like to win a championship. I'm hoping this community will get a kick out of knowing that one of the best piano players in the world is a diehard Minnesota Vikings fan. P.S. After studying him for 2 decades, my brother is convinced that Beethoven himself would have been a Vikings fan.
All right, I got an idea. Contact the Vikings national anthem on the piano. Why not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why not?
Be awesome.
Yeah.
Just like wheel a piano out.
Violins, guitars, which by the way is awesome. Why not have because this is an awesome thing. National anthem, US Bank Stadium on the piano.
I think it'd be great.
I think
Dude,
it'd be cool.
the guy who played was it game whatever a couple games ago at Target Center, and that dude, the saxophone player guy, came out,
Also love that.
killed it.
That was awesome.
I feel like the instrumentalists usually deliver a better national anthem than most of the singers.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree with
Let's make
that.
this happen. Our guy Ryan Q chimes in, says, "Hello, friends. My family and I had a really tough day. We had to put our dear Sally down. She was by my side for almost every Vikings game the last 11 years as my Viking football buddy. She's the very best dog that I'm going to start crying.
I can't do
Very
it.
best dog that my family and I ever had. She's even has a special place in the hearts of my extended family. I couldn't have picked a better pup to be pals with. I saw an episode of Feedback Friday not that long ago where you memorialized another Purple Daily Family's dog, and I felt it fitting for the same to get a "That's a good girl, Sally. That's a good girl, Sally." Losing her, I don't think will be ever be easy, but when we lose someone close to us, especially our Viking football buddies, we have to keep our mission clear that we all want the Vikings to win one before we die. It does crystallize it in that way. When it happens, whenever they win one, I will always think of the Sunday afternoons with my Sally by my side. Getting a little misty in here. Sincerely, Ryan, Chief Zero Fox Excuses Officer. Oh my gosh.
Sally.
Dogs
Who's a
are
good
the
girl,
best.
Sally? Who's a good girl?
Dogs are the best.
I know.
They don't
they are.
deserve. We don't deserve them.
No.
Let's see. Taylor B chimes in and says, "Just a correction. You guys keep saying the Vikings are the first team to play in Europe in back-to-back weeks. The Jaguars did it in 2024 against the Bears and Patriots. Au contraire. Taylor,
Whoa.
clean out your ears. Stick your pinky in your ears.
Yeah.
We've been saying the Vikings are the first team to play back-to-back games in Europe in different countries where they have to travel. They're testing out 2 different locations back-to-back weeks to push this thing forward even more toward a European team or a division. So that's the distinction. Now, the Jaguars have kind of lived in Europe for a number of years, and they've done the back-to-back London games.
Yeah.
But the Vikings are the first team to play back-to-back games in Europe in different locations or different countries, if you will.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Bruce says, "I'm hoping to get some advice from the Purple Daily crew regarding my first home game. My mother has been a diehard Vikings fan since she was born. She passes the legacy of heartbreak on to me, and I've recently begun teaching my 3-year-old what it means to bleed purple and gold. She's never been to a Vikings game, and this year we decided to surprise her with tickets to the home game against Atlanta for her birthday.
Nice.
I've yet to make it to a home game, so I'm excited to rock the vintage Adrian Peterson jersey. And I was wondering if you or the other guys had any tips, advice, or suggestions regarding attending our first Vikings home game. From the trenches, Bryce." I said Bruce. It's Bryce. Sorry, Bryce.
I mean, Bruce, Bryce, great. I don't
Put
think
some
I
respect on Bryce's name.
I'm just saying I can't remember a name, so it doesn't matter. Like I'll call him Ted by the end of this, and I won't recall his name. But anyway, I guess I'd like to know specifically, like, are you looking for places to go before the game? Are you looking for like once you're at the game? So I would need
Here,
to know
let me
more
ask him real quick.
specifics.
Hey, Bryce.
Bryce.
Hey, Larry.
Bryce.
Hey, Ted.
My one thing would be I enjoy the plaza before the games. Like
Sure.
for 2 hours before home games, the Vikings there's live music. There's that big, what do you call it? That big like outdoor field house thing where there's
Yeah, the
drinks and
Vikings have
TVs
like
and
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
like a big field house.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
think that's
and then
right.
they've got food and different things out there and like activations, I guess, if you will. So I would just spend a half hour on the
Activations.
plaza,
Activation.
enjoy
That's
the
like a
activations.
2020s term, an activation. Let's have an activation. Let's shut up instead.
That is a Sunday night game, right? That Falcons game's a Sunday night
Yes.
football game. So
Yes.
I would, number one, I would try to park farther away. And by farther away, I don't mean like St. Paul where I'm at. I mean like 6-7 blocks away, maybe even North Loop. Number one, because it will save you a fortune on trying to park your car.
Yeah.
And two, it'll be nice out. Like it'll be if assuming everyone's able to walk and whatnot, it's a nicer walk in. That's what I used to do. Obviously, I know Phil's kind of close to the stadium too, so I would definitely park a little further away, walk down Washington, walk down, is it 4th or 6th Street that probably takes you in there.
Both.
To U.S. Bank. Both do, right?
Well, walking both would take you there.
Both do take you
right?
in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh my God, and that traffic around there trying to get in there right now is a pain. But I think by September it should be cleaned up.
You could even I've seen people. I love that River Parkway too, where you can kind of see the skylines across both sides of the river. So you could in the spirit of parking a little further away to just have some distance from the riffraff. There's meters down there you could plug for a few hours and enjoy. Leave some time to walk around because it's not gonna be the dead of winter. So explore the riverfront. There's great restaurants around too if you give yourself some time, and It's also just a fun stadium to look at. It looks like a spaceship literally landed in downtown Minneapolis.
Yeah, the Viking ship sailed right in.
It did. Cool. So I think that's the batch of feedback here. Let's get to our little snake draft of the week, or as Judd called it last week after the show, that thing that we do where we
at the end.
At the end
draft
on Friday.
things.
Yeah, we draft lots of stuff.
Presented in part by the Meadows at Mystic. You could also leave yourself some time, Bryce, to get in a round of golf at the Meadows at Mystic.
That's right. You could play around. You could tee off at noon, still have plenty of time to get to the stadium and enjoy Minneapolis. You can go to golfthemeadows.com and go look at that tee sheet. It's obviously filling up a little bit for this weekend. We got a high of 90 even on Monday if you want to play a little bit of hooky from work. So go to golfthemeadows.com, or if you're coming up for a Vikings game, for a home game this year from the South. It's right off 169, about 35 minutes or so south from Minneapolis, probably even a little less than that. So go to golfthemeadows.com to book that next tee time.
Also, a shout out to Dennis Kirk. It is riding season. All you Ragnars out there with your braids flowing in the wind on your motorcycles. If you're into home builds, so you've been built like a garage build, you're building a bike or you're renovating one, and you'd love to show it off to some people. The second annual Minnesota Garage Build Bike Show, powered by Dennis Kirk, is happening next weekend, Saturday, June 7th, at Running Aces Casino, just north on 35. That's an awesome place, too, by the way. If you've never been to Running Aces, that's a fun spot. So you can register for free. Kids and families are welcome. There's 15 different class awards to be handed out. So check it out, the second annual Minnesota Garage Build Bike Show, powered by Dennis Kirk. This week's snake draft category is comedy movies, and we'll get to that. But Dex, give us the latest stats. What happened last week officially? AJ, the master AJ jumped in. One of the great win percentages in the history of the snake draft of the week. What were the results last week?
Yeah, so AJ won. Andy Pettit, that's what I'm calling him. He's Andy Pettit. He comes into the postseason and just wins, man.
Slings it.
AJ won with Best Sports TV Shows. He edited out Judd. AJ had a 41% win to Judd's 35 to my 23. Taking a look at some statistics throughout the year so far, just in 2025. Let's see here. Phil in 2025 has won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 snake drafts this year. Judd, you have won. You had a 3-game winning streak snapped from AJ last week. But you have won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 snake draft wins for Judd in 2025.
Seven.
I have 3 in 2025. Last place finishes, because AJ updates those every week. Judd, even though he's the all-time leader in wins, has 16.5 last place finishes. Mackey has 14.5 last place finishes. I have 14 last place finishes. And Andy Pettit, by the way, AJ, who has now won 5 of 9 snake drafts, has finished in last place just once in his 9 appearances.
So he has a really high floor. Like because there's been somewhere like I'll get 8% of the vote or something, and so he never has those dud performances. You know?
TV shows, was that his last place performance? His MASH pick, which
I don't know.
Shocked the world.
We don't.
No, I finished last that week. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Age took a lot of flack for the MASH
He
pick.
did.
Too much, I thought.
But yeah, he slays, man. When he gets in here,
He's
slays.
been great.
He does. What? Okay, remind me. Just me being rusty and out from last week. The draft order here.
So Phil, you will have the number 1 pick. Judd will have the 2nd pick. I get the 3rd wraparound pick.
Okay. And then so Dex will pick first in the 2nd round, and and then I'll do the back-to-back here. So okay, so I'm on the clock then with any questions. By the way, seems pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Comedy movies.
Yeah.
I hate losing when I have the 3rd pick. I feel like the third pick is the entree. It's the door to a victory for that week. So I'm not happy about this.
Yeah, it's because you get to kind of survey, unless there's a bona fide, absolute number one.
Well,
Sure.
like when you did stand-up comedians, you had Dave like that. That's the best time to have the number one pick. Like, that was a perfect
I'm just saying,
example.
I like to win it. I just feel like the third one because I can, to Phil's point, I can survey the entire ice. I can see where all the pieces are, and I can make that great one time.
What about
pass.
what about the second pick?
Yeah.
You don't. I kind of hate the second because
It's
you don't get
nebulous.
the back to backs.
Yeah, I know.
It's
I don't
kinda-
like it, and I've got it, and I'm not happy about it.
So all right, well, I think with my big board is just kind of loaded here.
Yeah, it's good. Oh, boy.
But I'm gonna go with a tried and true classic from my era, a guy that grew up on 90s and 2000s comedy movies. Give me Wedding Crashers with the number one overall pick.
Wow. Okay. It was on my big board. I didn't think this would go number one.
Love me some Wedding Crashers. Loaded
great
cast,
Yeah. Great film.
a Vince Vaughn classic.
Yep.
I'd find you.
Yep.
So it's hard. There's probably 3 or 4 that I could have put number one here. I'm going Wedding Crashers. I'll take the criticism. That's fine.
Great movie. I love Wedding Crashers. I would have taken it.
I'm laughing at the comments. All right. There's one I can't. I'm not going to say,
Yeah,
but
don't
it's
say it.
very off color.
Oh, jeez. God.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
I know. This Seinfeld episode. You were making out? Okay, anyway, with the second pick, I'm going to take Office Space. Office Space is my pick. I love
That's a
that
good one.
movie.
That's definitely high up on my big board. That's one I feel like it was such a different type of comedy movie. The first time you see it, you're like, "What am I?" There's another one on my big board too. Where the first time I watched it, I was like,
I know.
"What is this?"
Do you know
And
what
then
I
you
felt
watch
like
it a
that about?
second, a third time, and you're like, "This is incredible."
I felt the same way about Old School.
That's a great one.
But the first time I watched it, I'm like,
Buddy
this
Craig
is
Kilborn.
this is funny, but
right,
I'm not.
Kilby.
But it's sort of sad too. But then the more I watched it, the more I appreciated it.
Yeah. Some people are saying that you already won here. Your draft
This
of
always
Office Space.
This always happens, and I appreciate those people. But
Okay, Declan gets the back-to-backs here.
All right, back to back. I'm gonna stick in a similar era. With the first one, give me Tommy Boy.
Yeah.
Tommy Boy might be, and I know there's literally a podcast called Rewatchables. I think Tommy Boy might be the most rewatchable movie of all time.
It's awesome.
oh
Yeah.
wow, that's a bold statement. There's some
I-
dramas, man, that I do not flip past, including The Departed last night.
Oh, fun fact.
Oh,
Fun fact.
Love The Departed.
I forgot to tell you guys this. Last Friday, for the first time, I watched in full. Had never seen it start to finish in full. I've seen only clips. I watched Goodfellas for the first time in my life last Friday.
First time?
Had never seen it. My wife said, like, you've never seen this. It was like a late Friday night. It was after the twins walk off.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, put it on. Loved it. I'm a wise guy now. But yes, I love it. Great
I've
movie.
watched it like 80 times.
Great movie. So I'll take Tommy Boy with the first pick, and then with the second pick, I'll take one from more like my high school years. Give me Step Brothers.
Oh, wow.
Give me Step Brothers.
Yeah, it's a favorite. People.
Yeah, never
It's a very
really
quotable
quite
movie.
got into Step Brothers, but it's definitely a classic for sure. Okay, Judd.
Oh god, this list, you're not kidding. It's so rich. It's so glorious. I'm going to go with Happy Gilmore.
Oh, damn it.
It's a good one.
Happy Gilmore.
And the sequel comes out like
Yeah, soon.
in June
July
or
June,
July or something.
On,
sometime this summer.
It's a Netflix, right? It's not a.
It's a Netflix.
It's not
Yeah.
in the theaters. It's a.
Yep.
But I'm excited to see it because Ben Stiller is back, and his character in the original was so glorious as the attendant at the nursing home.
Man, this is tough. Happy Gilmore was very high up on my my list. I'll go Dumb and Dumber here. I'm not gonna I get the back-to-back picks. So I'll go Dumb and Dumber here. Dumb and Dumber is probably the comedy movie I've watched the most in my life.
That's a good.
Just an absolute classic from the 90s. So Wedding Crashers, Dumb and Dumber, and 7 different ones remaining here. There's a really old school one that I feel like if I were staying 100% true to my own personal taste, I would draft it. But I just feel like it's going to shipwreck my chances. I'll save that. If somebody drafts it, we can discuss. I'll save it for the UDFAs. Give me Napoleon Dynamite.
Okay.
Give me Napoleon Dynamite right here.
Pick. Great pick. Love that movie.
And throw
Yourself a
that
damn
pigskin
quesadilla.
over those mountains.
I
Great
swear to
friend.
God, I saw Uncle Rico, who I know stars in
White Lotus.
I
Yeah.
swear to God, I saw him at my local grocery store yesterday. It was I was like, that's him. That is him. That's Rick. Like that's him.
Did he have like a Hawaiian, like a flower pattern
He had
shirt
like
on?
dude, he had like a polo on, and I was like, I kind of debated being like, are you? Is it? I forget his name is in real life. But I wanted to be like, are you Uncle Rico? Because I mean, he probably knows that by now. But also now because of the White Lotus, he's kind of famous again for that.
Yeah, crazy man.
He's bald now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think was that his real hair in Napoleon Dynamite? I don't think
probably.
so.
I don't know.
Might not
I
have
doubt
But
it.
it's possible he's been bald for 30 years. Not that I'm judging. Judd.
All right, I'm going to take a Vince Vaughn film as well. I'm going to go with Dodgeball.
Ah,
Yeah,
dang
that's a
it.
good
That
one,
was-
dude.
I'm between that one. Yeah.
Very high on my list too. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of. I feel like Vince. We could probably do drafts of individual. We could draft Tom Hanks movies at some point, which we should. I'm actually going to put that down as a.
Yep.
We could probably do Adam Sandler movies at some point. Okay, Dex gets the Mr. Irrelevant pick, the final pick.
I'm between two. One again that's probably like these things. I think these two that I'm debating came out within like 3 years of each other. One that's probably more my high school years, but one I think is probably that's just more funny. Oh, I'm tough in this one out, but I'm gonna take 40-Year-Old Virgin.
It's a good one.
That's also just a phenomenal movie. Superbad was my other one. Superbad's one of my favorite films of all time. I love Superbad.
This probably should have been a 6-round snake draft if we were really. We'll get to the UDFA candidates here in a moment, but yeah, so I go with Wedding Crashers, Dumb and Dumber, and Napoleon Dynamite. Judd winds up with Office Space, Happy Gilmore, and Dodgeball. Dex with Tommy Boy, Step Brothers, and 40-Year-Old Virgin. The old school movie that is one of my all-time favorite comedies is Airplane.
Oh,
Airplane
absolutely.
from like
Yeah.
1975.
Yeah,
Just
that's good.
a barrage of one-liners.
No, I saw that
and
when I was 10.
satire, and oh my gosh.
I saw that in the theater and thought it was hilarious at 10, and I didn't get probably 75% of the jokes.
Yeah, as you get a little older, it's like, oh my gosh, there's ridiculous comedy in here. Billy Madison was on my big board. Groundhog Day with Bill Murray.
Yep.
Kind of old school.
Yep.
American Pie.
Yep. Road
I
Trip.
mean, there's a
Road
ton
Trip.
Of,
Road Trip's great.
yeah, there's
Love
there's
Road
a
Trip.
ton of great films here, like that are absolutely hilarious.
Anchorman. I loved Anchorman. Austin Powers. Ace Ventura. And honestly, the rare time, I actually think the second one, the sequel, Ace Ventura,
Yes.
is much better than the original.
Where he's
I think
crawling
it's
out
funnier.
of the rhinoceros.
The Rhino. I mean, that's
keister.
an all-time scene. That's one of the best scenes of all time.
Yeah. So, all right, let us know in the comment section how big of idiots we are here with our snake draft. And the voting is going to be on the Score North Twitter account or X account, and then you can put pen to paper and submit your ballot there. So we'll see who wins this one. All right, boys, that's our Feedback Friday and our snake draft here. Judd's camp notes again early next week. So we've got Ross Tucker, the legendary Ross Tucker, making his debut on Purple Daily on Monday, and then Judd's camp notes from OTAs on Tuesday. So a packed week as we enter into to June. Purple Daily, where we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. See ya.